You remember what you read at 10 a.m. But by 10 p.m., you can't even remember where you left your glasses. And no, it's not just getting older. It's not dementia. It's a pattern. A predictable shift in how your brain and your eyes function after the sun goes down. Let me show you what I mean. A 2023 study from the Journal of Aging and Brain Health found that over 68% of adults over 60 report mental fog and visual strain after dinner, even if they sleep well. The surprising part? Most of them had normal cognitive scans. Their brains weren't broken. They were underfueled. And the fix didn't come from a pill. It came from food. Simple food. Familiar fruit. Hi, I'm Dr. James Porter. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. I create science-backed, natural strategies to help older adults heal, recover, and stay sharp for real. If that's something you care about, feel free to subscribe. You'll feel right at home. Now let's talk about what's really happening after 7 p.m. See, as the day winds down, your brain starts shifting into recovery mode. But it needs the right raw materials to do that. Without them, neuroinflammation builds, blood vessels narrow, and the systems responsible for memory and visual processing start to stall. You feel foggy, slow, sometimes a little lost. And worst of all, it feels like you're slipping, even though you're doing everything right. But here's the part that matters. This decline is not inevitable. Your brain isn't giving up. It's asking for help, and tonight, you can start giving it the right kind. We're not talking about supplements or exotic powders. We're talking about 4 fruits you've probably eaten your entire life. Just not at the right time or in the right way. Each of these fruits has a specific function. One calms overactive neurons. One boosts oxygen delivery to your retina. One repairs vascular tissue while you sleep. And one, it helps your brain stay hydrated long after your head hits the pillow. And yes, we have real research backing every claim. I'll show you what to eat, when to eat it, and how it helps you wake up with clearer vision and sharper focus starting as soon as tonight. Let's begin with the first fruit. You've probably eaten it since childhood, but its true power has been hiding in plain sight. We start with apples. When it comes to nighttime brain repair, apples are often underestimated. They look simple. They taste familiar. But inside that crisp bite is a combination of compounds that quietly support both brain cell protection and visual sharpness, especially in older adults. Here is what makes apples different. Apples are rich in polyphenols, especially quercetin and chlorogenic acid. These compounds are powerful antioxidants, but more importantly, they are anti-inflammatory inside the brain. As we age, low-grade neuroinflammation becomes one of the biggest drivers of memory decline and slower visual processing. Apples help calm that inflammation without overstimulating the nervous system. A 2019 paper in the journal Nutrients showed that quercetin reduces oxidative stress in neurons and improves mitochondrial efficiency in aging brain cells. In simple terms, that means brain cells produce energy more efficiently and survive longer under stress. This matters at night, because sleep is when the brain repairs itself at the cellular level. Now let's talk about vision. The retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body. It is extremely sensitive to inflammation and poor blood flow. Apples support retinal health in 2 key ways. First, their flavonoids improve microcirculation. Second, their soluble fiber helps stabilize blood sugar overnight, reducing glycation damage to retinal cells. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that diets rich in apple flavonoids were associated with slower cognitive decline and better visual processing speed in adults over 60. Researchers noted improved contrast sensitivity and reduced nighttime visual fatigue, which is exactly what many seniors struggle with after sunset. There is also a gut-brain connection here that should not be ignored. Apples contain pectin, a soluble fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Those bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce systemic inflammation and support neurotransmitter balance. Less inflammation in the gut often means less inflammation in the brain and the eyes. Let me share a quick example. A 71-year-old retired teacher I worked with often said that by evening, words on the page felt dull and her mind slowed down. She added one small apple about 90 minutes before bed. After 2 weeks, she told me reading felt easier again and her mornings were noticeably clearer. So how should you use apples correctly? Timing matters. Apples work best in the evening, about 1 to 2 hours before sleep. This gives the brain access to antioxidants during its repair window without spiking blood sugar. Choose whole apples, not juice. The skin is where most of the protective compounds live, so wash well and eat it. Pairing an apple with a small amount of protein, like a spoon of yogurt or a few nuts, helps slow glucose release and supports overnight stability. Apples do not force the brain to work harder. They create a calm, protected environment where healing can happen naturally. And for aging eyes and aging neurons, that calm environment is exactly what allows recovery to begin. Next, we move to a fruit that does something completely different. It does not protect by calming. It protects by helping the brain switch into deep nighttime repair mode. That fruit is the banana. Bananas play a very different role from apples. They do not focus primarily on protection. They focus on regulation. And for the aging brain and aging eyes, regulation at night is everything. As we grow older, the brain often struggles to fully shift from daytime alertness into deep nighttime repair. Neurons stay slightly overactive, stress hormones linger, blood vessels fail to fully relax. This is why many older adults say they sleep, but never feel fully restored in the morning. Bananas help correct this imbalance. The key lies in 3 nutrients working together: vitamin B6, magnesium, and natural tryptophan. Vitamin B6 is essential for converting tryptophan into serotonin and later into melatonin. Melatonin is not just a sleep hormone. It is one of the most powerful antioxidants inside the brain and retina. It protects neurons and photoreceptor cells from oxidative damage while you sleep. A 2018 review in the Journal of Pineal Research showed that melatonin significantly improves mitochondrial repair in aging neurons and reduces nighttime oxidative stress in retinal tissue. This is one reason visual sharpness in the morning often depends on what happens during sleep, not during the day. Magnesium adds another layer of support. With age, magnesium levels tend to decline. This mineral helps regulate calcium flow inside neurons. When magnesium is low, neurons fire too easily and too often. The result is shallow sleep, fragmented brain repair, and poor visual processing the next day. A 2020 clinical review in Nutrients linked adequate magnesium intake to improved sleep architecture, better cognitive performance, and reduced neuroinflammation in adults over 60. Importantly, these effects occurred without sedation. The brain remained calm but responsive. Bananas provide magnesium in a gentle, food-based form that works gradually rather than forcing a shutdown. There is also an important vascular component. The brain and the retina depend on stable blood flow at night. Sudden drops in blood sugar or stress hormone spikes can constrict small vessels and limit oxygen delivery. Bananas help stabilize nighttime glucose levels, reducing these fluctuations. A 2022 study in Aging and Metabolism reported that balanced evening carbohydrate intake improved cerebral blood flow during sleep and was associated with better morning cognitive speed and visual clarity in older adults. What matters here is not quantity, but timing and context. A banana eaten earlier in the evening supports the brain's natural transition into repair mode. It signals safety. It tells the nervous system that resources are available. That signal allows neurons to downshift from survival mode into maintenance and recovery. This matters for vision as well. The retina is neurologic tissue. When the brain is overstimulated at night, retinal repair suffers. When the brain is calm and well supplied, retinal cells recover faster. Inflammation decreases, and visual contrast improves. Bananas do not act like a stimulant. They do not force relaxation. They create the biochemical conditions that allow the brain and eyes to do what they were designed to do during sleep: heal. In the next part, we will look at a fruit that works in a completely different way. Instead of calming neurons, it protects the blood vessels that feed them. That fruit is grapes. If apples calm inflammation and bananas regulate repair, then grapes act as the shield, the frontline defense for the most fragile parts of your brain and your eyes. What makes grapes unique is their high concentration of polyphenols, particularly resveratrol and anthocyanins. These compounds are not just antioxidants, they are vascular protectors. They help preserve the delicate blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to the retina and the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory formation. As we age, these tiny vessels become more vulnerable. They stiffen. They narrow. They leak. When that happens, the brain and eyes no longer receive the steady flow of oxygen they need to repair during sleep. You may not feel it instantly, but over time, you start noticing patterns. Words become harder to track, peripheral vision dulls, and short-term memory weakens. A 2020 study published in Experimental Gerontology found that resveratrol improved cerebral blood flow and reduced oxidative stress in the retina in older adults within just 6 weeks of dietary intake. Participants showed measurable improvements in visual contrast sensitivity and reaction time, especially when grapes were consumed in the evening. But the benefit is not just about blood vessels. Grapes also reduce microglial overactivation in the brain, a key driver of neurodegeneration. When microglia, the brain's immune cells, remain constantly active, they begin attacking healthy neurons. Resveratrol gently calms this process, allowing for more efficient synaptic repair and protection against age-related decline. A 2017 trial from the University of California, Davis showed that daily grape consumption in adults aged 60 to 75 led to improvements in spatial memory and metabolic activity in the brain regions involved in cognition. Notably, the effects were more pronounced when grapes were eaten during the evening, when the body's natural antioxidant systems are at their lowest. The visual system also responds directly. The retina contains a dense network of capillaries that are easily damaged by spikes in blood sugar and pressure. The anthocyanins in red and black grapes strengthen the walls of these vessels, reduce permeability, and increase retinal oxygenation during sleep. This is essential for preventing long-term conditions like macular degeneration and night vision loss. Let me give you an example. A 73-year-old man once told me, "I don't read menus at night anymore. The words just swim." He started eating a small handful of red grapes after dinner. 2 weeks later, he said, "It's not perfect, but I can actually read again after 8 p.m. The key to using grapes effectively is consistency. Red and black grapes are highest in resveratrol and anthocyanins. Eat them raw and whole, preferably with the skin. Avoid dried grapes like raisins at night. The sugar concentration is too high and can spike blood glucose, counteracting the benefits. The ideal window is within 1 hour after dinner. This allows the polyphenols to circulate as the brain and retina transition into repair mode. You only need a small, serving 10 to 15 grapes is enough. Pairing them with a small portion of protein or healthy fat can help further slow sugar absorption. Grapes are not a miracle, but they are a tool, a powerful one when used with intention. They do not just feed your body. They protect the highways your brain and eyes rely on to heal. And tomorrow, when you open your eyes, that protection could mean the difference between blur and clarity, between confusion and focus. Next, we'll look at a fruit that often gets ignored, but may be the most underrated tool for nighttime brain hydration. Let's talk about pears. Among all the fruits we've discussed, pears might seem the most ordinary. But when it comes to supporting the aging brain and aging eyes, especially overnight, pears offer something essential that most people overlook: hydration. As simple as it sounds, Dehydration is one of the most underestimated drivers of cognitive fog and visual fatigue, particularly in adults over 60. Your brain is nearly 75% water. Even a slight drop in hydration levels can shrink neurons, disrupt synaptic signaling, and impair short-term memory. But hydration isn't just about water. It's about how well your cells retain and use it. That's where pears come in. Pears are composed of more than 85% water. But what makes them uniquely effective is their combination of soluble fiber, potassium, and anti-inflammatory flavonoids, three components that help water enter cells, stay there longer, and support the internal environment your brain and retina need to heal during sleep. Soluble fiber, especially pectin, slows the absorption of glucose and helps stabilize blood sugar overnight. When blood sugar is stable, insulin levels stay low, which reduces vascular stress in the retina and brain. Stable insulin also helps maintain electrolyte balance, which is critical for nerve function. A 2018 paper in Neuroscience Letters found that even modest fluctuations in hydration levels at night reduced cerebral perfusion and increased subjective cognitive fatigue the next morning in older adults. The researchers emphasized that fluid retention inside brain cells mattered more than total water intake. This is exactly where pears shine. Their nutrient composition promotes cellular hydration, not just systemic fluid. Pears are also rich in kaempferol, a plant flavonoid shown to protect neurons from oxidative damage. A 2021 review in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience highlighted kaempferol's ability to cross the blood-brain barrier and modulate neuroinflammation, supporting clearer thinking and better memory consolidation during sleep. From a visual standpoint, pears support healthy blood pressure, which is essential for protecting the tiny vessels of the retina. The potassium in pears gently relaxes blood vessels, reduces nocturnal blood pressure spikes, and improves circulation to the optic nerve. A 2022 clinical study from the University of Helsinki found that potassium-rich fruits, including pears, were associated with improved retinal vessel caliber and reduced risk of night vision loss in adults over 65. The effects were most significant when the fruit was consumed in the evening rather than earlier in the day. But there's another reason pears work so well at night. They are naturally low in acidity, gentle on digestion, and unlikely to cause reflux or bloating problems that can interfere with deep sleep. This makes pears a safer choice than many tropical fruits, especially for seniors with sensitive stomachs. To use pears effectively as part of your nighttime brain and vision care, choose ripe, fresh pears with the skin intact. The skin contains most of the flavonoids and fiber. Eat it slowly, about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, and avoid pairing it with sugary foods. For those with difficulty chewing, gently steaming the pear can soften the texture without destroying the nutrients. Pears do not stimulate or sedate. They rebalance. They give your brain a stable internal environment, moist, oxygenated, and calm, so that neural repair and visual recovery can happen without interruption. And in a world full of high stress, high stimulus options, sometimes the simplest fruit is the one your brain has been quietly waiting for. In the next and final section, we'll put all of this together into a nightly plan you can actually follow starting tonight. Now that you've seen how each of these fruits works, apples for inflammation, bananas for calming, grapes for protection, and pears for hydration, the real question is, how do you actually use them starting tonight? The truth is, it doesn't have to be complicated. The goal is simple. Give your brain and eyes the raw materials they need right before sleep, when repair is most active. Here's how to do it. About 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime, choose just one of the 4 fruits we covered. Don't combine them all at once. This isn't a fruit salad challenge. It's a targeted strategy. If your mind feels foggy or restless at night, reach for a banana. It helps you shift into recovery mode and supports deep, stable sleep. If you've been feeling inflamed, puffy, or mentally slow after dinner, try an apple. The antioxidants in the skin help calm overactive brain cells. If your vision feels strained or your memory sharpness fades too fast after dark, go with grapes, especially red or black. They protect the tiny vessels your brain and eyes depend on. And if you wake up dry-mouthed, mentally sluggish, or with low energy, try a pear. It helps replenish moisture and stabilize the environment your neurons need to function. Keep it simple. Just one fruit. Keep it whole. No juices, no blending, no sugar on top. Wash it. Eat it slowly. Let it do its job. Want to make this even more effective? Start tracking how you feel the next morning. Notice if you wake up clearer, if your reading feels easier, if your mind is sharper by breakfast. Most people notice subtle improvements in just 5 to 7 days. And over time, those small shifts can lead to much bigger changes. Remember, your brain and your eyes are not giving up. They're just waiting for you to give them what they actually need. Not pills. Not more hours of sleep. Just the right nourishment at the right time in a way your body understands. If you've watched all the way to the end, thank you. You're not just consuming content. You're showing up for yourself. You're choosing to heal. If this video helped you in any way, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and leave a comment below. Your story might inspire someone else to try. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. We have more brain and vision healing guides coming soon. Tonight's healing begins with one simple choice. Make it count.